as I'm spinning this yarn, I want you to focus on the sounds of the spinning wheel. Because let's imagine you're laying next to the spinning wheel. Just like Zoey did. This is hard. Hey guys, it's Allie. Tonight I'm going to be spinning yarn for the first time since I lost my spinning buddy, Miss Zoey, a week ago. I'm also going to tell you a little bit about Zoey, my sweet, sweet girl, while I spin the yarn.
Both Leah and Zoey seemed to enjoy the sound of my spinning wheel, but it was really Zoey who got the full ASMR experience out of it. She would start off all perked up and alert, and within 5 minutes she'd be passed out next to the spinning wheel.
So this is really hard for me, but I want to be able to spin yarn again. I do have Leah sitting over on the bed with me, so she's here. But it definitely is super weird to be about to spin yarn without Zoey.
So this video took 90 minutes to film and 4 weeks to get it all edited and ready to upload. And during that time, we did end up adopting another puppy. So if you stick around to the other end of the video, you will get to make a guess as to which of 5 adorable puppies we ended up choosing. We are all still heartbroken over the loss of our sweet Zoey, but Opal will never replace Zoey, but she has given us someone else to love, and we gave her the middle name Angel in memory of Zoey. Every day she reminds us of Zoey, and she, even to our surprise, loves the sound of my spinning wheel.
Sometimes when I'm feeling low, I really need to be exposed to lots of different colors to boost my mood. And since obviously I've been really low lately, since I lost my sweet puppy, I need to be exposed to brighter colors. And so I've decided that I'm going to spin this yarn together. And this is kind of roughly how it's going to be laid out. But I do think that it's good for me to continue spinning. Sure is weird to do it without Zoey though, because that dog loved the sound of my spinning wheel. This is hard. This is fiber that I got from Northwest Wools in Portland, Oregon. And since I need some color, I'm gonna be going. Please bear with me. This is obviously not easy to talk about. Thinking I would start with this one because it's actually called Blue Mondays, but I'm in need of some brighter colors, and the only bright color on this one is this end. So I thought so I'm going with this one instead. So I am going to start by splitting these up into different strips. In theory, those colors will line up the way more or less the way I wanted him, with the bright pink lining up against the bright blue. Again, in theory. I call Zoe my spinning buddy because Zoe loved the sound of my spinning wheel. I don't know how familiar you are with border collies, but they are high energy dogs. And sometimes if Zoe was bored, she would start pacing around the living room. And if I wasn't able to grab her a puzzle toy at that moment, I would just sit down at my spinning wheel and start spinning. And within 5 minutes, she would be asleep. Because that's what ASMR does. It helps, that's what ASMR is supposed to do. It's supposed to help you fall asleep. Who would have thought that it would help a dog fall asleep? Still can't believe she's gone. That was the sweetest dog ever. By the way, this is the same dog who had her own YouTube channel for a little while called Zoey's Second Chance. We had her for 5 years. It still seems crazy that we only got to have her for 5 years because that was the sweetest dog ever. And the vet was shocked that a dog that young would get cancer. Particularly cancer that aggressive. But I want you to know that they did everything possible, and we did everything possible to save her. As I'm spinning this yarn, I want you to focus on the sounds of the spinning wheel. Just focus on the sound. And you can also focus on the stories that I'm going to tell you about Zoe. And I'm going to tell you stories about Zoe as they come to my mind. I want you to hear what she heard. I want you to get the same ASMR experience as she did. So I am going to tell you about Zoe, and I want you to focus on the sound of my voice and the sound of my spinning wheel. And if you like, you can also focus on the colors as they go onto the spinning wheel. But that's one benefit of having this variegated wool, is that its colors change relatively quickly. So we first got Zoe in June of 2020. Do you remember in June of 2020? It was shortly after the start of the pandemic. A lot of businesses were closed down, or at least they were in other states, much less so in Iowa, where I live. So we've been looking for a 1 to 3 year old dog who needed a lot of love. And we found a 6-month-old puppy who needed a lot of extra love. Actually, at the time, she was only 5 months old. So I said to my husband, how do you feel about a 5-month-old puppy? And he just kind of looked at me wearily and said, well, it would have to be the right 5-month-old puppy. And the reason we were wanting a dog that wasn't that young is because Leia had been a giant-sized handful when she was a puppy, even though I loved her very, very much. Now, Zoe's previous owners accidentally ran over her when she was 3 months old, and it shattered her left femur and fractured the right side of her pelvis. So she was in pretty bad shape. And her owners didn't have the ability to pay for the surgery she would need. So they opted for euthanasia. And the vet didn't want to euthanize a 3-month-old puppy, especially a puppy who had the potential to survive if they got treatment. So they got her to surrender her to a shelter, and the shelter paid for the surgeries. And for 2.5 years, Zoe was able to keep her injured leg. But ultimately, it had to be amputated because it turned out that the bone hadn't healed correctly. And that wasn't something anyone could have prevented. But we wanted to make sure she wasn't in pain. But part of the reason I wanted to adopt Zoe in the first place was I wanted to be the one to try to prevent her from losing that leg. But once we realized the bone hadn't been healed correctly, we knew she needed surgery again. And unfortunately, the only 2 options were amputation or a major surgery that wouldn't solve all of the problems she was still having with the leg. But even with only 3 legs, she was still able to do a lot of the same stuff she'd been doing prior to the surgery. She still liked to run around with Leia. She was still able to hunt rabbits, and that was something I wish she wouldn't do. She still loved laying on her bed while I spun yarn on the spinning wheel. Or on the couch. I don't know if you can tell, but Leia's fast asleep on the bed. So she's experiencing a lot of what Zoe felt. My dogs experience ASMR. How cool is that?
Sometimes they would fall asleep next to each other on the couch while I spun yarn.
Zoe was absolutely the sweetest dog I've ever encountered. There never will be another Zoe. That dog was strong and sweet and such a fighter. Even right up until the very end, I knew she wanted me to fight for her. The last time I saw her wag her tail was the day before she passed away. Can you get your tail wagging, Leia or Zoe?
Hey, Zoe. Oh, look at that
there's
tail
your
wag. There's
Look
your
at that
tail wagging.
wag.
Good job.
Yeah.
girl.
What do you think?
Such a good puppy.
Let's go get to that dog. That dog wanted to fight. And I always said that I knew Zoey wanted to fight. So I was gonna fight for Zoey as long as Zoey wanted to fight. And in the end, she didn't give up her will to fight. But her body became septic, and there was nothing else the doctors could do. But we ended up donating her body to the hospital that tried so hard to save her. And I will be forever grateful for everything that hospital did for Zoey, for all they did to save her. And we decided to donate our body so that Zoey can teach other vet students about GI lymphoma and how to recognize it and treat it, because it spread crazy fast. The tumor tripled in size in a week. We never expected that. One thing I'm gonna miss about Zoey is her soft coat and how much she loved getting pet. And she considered her day wasted if she missed an opportunity to be pet. Like, I used to take her to Michael's. She was like the unofficial store mascot, as I called her. And I would take her almost every month. I had a coworker who would ask me all the time how Zoey was doing and when I was going to bring Zoey in next.
For the next 5 minutes or so, I want you to focus on your breathing and imagine that you are laying next to my spinning wheel, just like Zoey did, and just focus on the sound of my spinning wheel.
I miss Zoey. And she's been gone a week and I already miss her like crazy. First night after she died, I lay in bed. I'd cuddled up next to my AmeriCorps sweatshirt because I needed to feel like I was cuddled up to Zoey. As I said in my last video, spinning yarn is like the ultimate meditative practice. And Zoey always loved the sound of my spinning wheel. Border collies are not known for being calm, but I used to be able to calm her down very easily by sitting down at my spinning wheel. One thing I notice about having my hands busy when I'm thinking about something difficult is I don't feel the emotion as much. Like if I were to be sitting here and telling you about Zoey and what happened to her, and not spinning or not knitting, I would be completely bawling my eyes out, like completely losing it. One thing about spinning yarn and ASMR is that they can be very hypnotic. Like, I feel almost like I'm hypnotized right now. And I have to be really careful with hypnosis, because I can get hypnotized really easy. It can be dangerous. Most of the time it's pretty harmless, but it can get you into trouble. It's gotten me into trouble at least once. Well, if you're still awake, I hope you've enjoyed listening to this and experiencing my spinning wheel the same way Zoey did, and learning about Zoey. It's definitely going to be hard without her. I hope you have a good rest of your night, and we will talk again soon. And sleep well. Take care. And thank you for listening. Bye.
Now see if you can guess which one of these adorable puppies we ended up adopting. Remember, we named her Opal. That's a clue.